Hi, I'm Joseph Scaberis, Regional Sales Manager for the Southeast, and today we're going to be talking about one of our hybrid printers. So this is our Q6 250H, and before we actually get into all of the dynamics of what the printer has to offer, let's talk a little bit about what a hybrid printer is. So what is a hybrid printer? No, it's not between gas and electric car. None of this takes gas or electric. A hybrid printer is the difference between a flatbed printer and a roll-to-roll printer. It's where we marry both of them and actually put them together. So if you wanted to be able to run your flat stock, such as your aluminums, your coroplast, your Dibond, your foam core, whatever it may be in a flat sheet of material, you can run through this. We have tables that come on the front and the back of the machine to be able to do so. And then if you wanted to be able to run your roll material, which is what we have set up here, you can run that as well. So you can put anything in this machine that's 2 inches thick or less and be able to print directly to it. So let's get into it. So this is our Q6 250H. CET, we manufacture machines that have Ricoh printheads in them, and we have Kyocera printheads in them. This machine that we have right here has got Ricoh printheads in them. We've got 3 currently in this machine. We've got 2 CMYK heads and 1 white head. All of our machines are field upgradable, so if you do start off with a certain amount of print heads in your machine, you can always upgrade later down the road to be able to get either more speed out of the machine or a different color set as well. If you didn't have white, you can add white later down the road to be able to print on your acrylics or your darker colored materials. So what makes our printers a little bit unique, obviously, is the 63-inch width is what we have right here. We do have a 98-inch width hybrid printer, and we also have a 126-inch hybrid printer. So depending upon the type of budget that you're looking for, the type of material that you're printing on, and the type of speed that you're looking for, we have that printer to be able to fit those needs. So going a little bit about through the printer, we've got our print heads, which are located here. We do right now, like I said, only have 3 in here. You have the upgradability to be able to have a second row. You can have CMYK, light cyan, light magentas, whites, so on and so forth. We've got crash card sensors on either side of the carriage. So if you do run into your material, it will hit the material, it'll raise itself up, it'll come back over to its home position, ask you if you want to resume the job or if you would like to cancel the job. It also has a static suppression kit on either side of the carriage. So when it is going back and forth over the material, it's dissipating as much static electricity as possible. If you do have something that you're printing with a high static yield, you are still going to want to wipe it with alcohol to be able to make sure that you're removing as much as that as possible to be able to get the most clear, crisp print. So moving forward a little bit over, we've got our belt here. So the belt actually is what has the vacuum system that holds the material down and is what pulls it forward. So we do have a take-up unit here on the front if we are printing on roll material. If we're not, then that table would then be here on the front of the printer. That table just butts up right against the belt and allows for that board to come all the way through. Right now, we're printing on roll material, we're printing on a banner. So we have it on the take-up unit, and we just have a standard core. This has got these basically little air pockets that you can use compressed air to be able to push down and have that core pop out so that there is no slip and sliding when the core is actually going through. So that's something that's a little bit unique, a little bit nice. Some other roll-to-roll printers don't have that feature. When it comes to the take-up unit, we do have different tensions and different settings to be able to have it, be able to make sure that you're pulling taut the material. If you have a high elastic material that you want to be able to make sure is pulling through properly, then you can increase or decrease that tension accordingly. We do have vacuum zones, which we will show here in a little bit. The vacuum zones are set up into different sections of the belt itself. So if you're only using one portion of the belt of the bed itself, then you can turn off the other vacuum zones and have the suction be able to have more suction on that one side. Right now we've got pretty much the entire belt full of material, so we've got the entire bed open. So this belt, though, is the vacuum system, so it is going to be what's going to be pulling the material forward. So unlike a flatbed printer where the material stays stationary, our material is moving on this specific machine. So if we are running our roll-to-roll material, obviously there's not a problem with it, but if we're running some type of coroplast sign, or if we're running a foam board or something like that, that material is going to be moving forward. So we can still do double-sided work. We can still do coroplast signs on either side if we're going to do yard signs for graduations, for political seasons, whatever it may be. Or if you have white machine and you wanted to do acrylic pieces and you want to be able to do double-sided acrylic work, you can still do that. That's not a problem at all. And you just have to make sure that you have it lined up properly, and we'll show you that process of how to do it here in a little bit. So moving on down on the printer, we have our gantry right here. This is a belt-driven system. Something that's a little bit different about our 98 and our 126-inch machines is they are magnetic linear drive systems. So what the difference between the two are is this is a Y belt, so Y motor that actually is pulling the machine and pulling the carriage left and right as it's going back over the material. A magnetic linear drive system is just what it sounds like, is a big magnet that's a big railing on it where the carriage is actually gliding back and forth. So what does that allow us to do? Well, on our 63 inch is kind of like our entry-level hybrid printer. Our 98 inch and our 126 inch are more mid and high-level production machines. So for those mid and high-level production machines, we have that magnetic linear drive as an option to be able to get increased speeds. It increases the speed production of about 30%. It also helps with the dot placements a little bit better as well. So that's going to be the big differences between what you see right here and what some of our other products may have on it. On the left side of the machine, we have all of our print heads, all of the cleaning, all the stuff like that. On the right side of the machine, we have a few different options and a few different features as well. So like I was talking before, we have the option of being able to have a tension and different resistance and whatnot. So we have a take-up unit. We have the option to be able to go forwards or reverse. What that means really is that we can have this material either loop underneath of the core or we can have the material loop over the core. Depending upon your material, depending upon the print, some people like to have the print protected as it's going onto the core. Some other people want to just have it go all the way around. It's just completely up to you, however you want to have it. And then from the tension perspective, we can turn the tension to be able to increase or decrease that based off of the material itself. Right now we're printing on a barrier material, which is kind of a heavier material, so we don't have to have too much tension on it. The weight of the material and then the vacuum zones will be able to pull it forward without a problem. Moving over, we have our vacuum system here, so we can be able to turn on the vacuum system on the front, and we can also turn on the vacuum system on the back when we load the materials. Depends upon obviously where your operator is, and then obviously the workflow as well. Power button, standard power button. We have e-stops all the way around the machine too, in case there's any type of emergency that you need to be able to get into it. From an ink-based system, we do have 3-liter tanks that are here located underneath of the machine. Right now we've got white and CMYK. All of our inks come in 1-liter bottles. Those liter bottles in, you can unscrew each of the reservoirs, and they have a flotation system in there. You pour the liter in there. When it's obviously full, then you can screw that back on, and then you go about your day, about your printing. So that's really easy access into it. The whiting system does have a stir system in it, so that in case it doesn't have any settling or any type of debris that basically settles to the bottom. And then our machine also does have a circulation system built into it, from the sub-tanks to the head, all the way back to the sub-tanks. So make sure that that white ink is always constantly circulating so that when you do want to be able to print white ink, you can go right away and be able to print and get your jobs done. All of our machines are built with specific PC, built specifically for the machine itself. So our control software is right here. We do package every machine with Onyx itself. So it can use Caldera, they can use FlexiSign design. However, our guys are more familiar with Onyx. So we have a CET version of Onyx, is what we normally package with the machines. Like I said, we typically don't put Onyx on the PC that is built into the machine. This PC is strictly designed basically for control software. So as you notice, there isn't really that many buttons on the machine itself. So if you want to raise the machine up, down, move the material forwards and backwards, start your print in the middle, whatever it may be, you can do that with the control software. You can also do small edits like changing it from a draft mode to production mode to high quality to quality, little things like that. So all of that can be done on the control software. It also keeps the log and a queue of everything that you've done. If you want to repeat a job, you can just drag it and drop it back into the queue. And then somebody can obviously set up the files with the right resolution, the orientation, however many quantity you want to have. All that would be done through Onyx. That can be done on an offsite PC with an art department, wherever it may be. You can then have it then obviously dropped into a hot folder and auto-populate into our control software. That way the operator, all they have to do, load and unload machines, and be able to hit file print. So it's super simple, super easy for them to do. Another benefit too about them if they're loading and unloading machines, is we do on our hybrid printers, unlike our flatbed printers, we do have a ruler or like a measuring system on the rail itself. So if you aren't using the entire width of the printer, so the full 63 inches in this case, you can actually line it up wherever you want to, be able to determine what it is on the carriage here, and then type that into the software to make sure that you're image is perfectly lined up. If not, our 0 point is always in the bottom left corner, so that you can obviously begin printing right there. So when we're printing on rolled material, it's kind of like any other roll-to-roll printer. We have a unit right here where we put our material. In this case, like I said before, it's banded material. We then feed it forward and feed it all the way through to be able to then have it come out the other side. Now, when we do want to be able to have the vacuum then take control and take over, we do have a vacuum button right here to be able to then hold the material down so that it doesn't slide back and then you have to redo the whole thing all over again. If we are printing on basically Coro sheets or whatever it may be, something with flat stock, we do have the ability to be able to line stuff up then. We have a drop down arrows right here to be able to have this come down for you to be able to butt your material up against. So that you get perfect registration every single time. Again, that's with the table back here. Table's not back here, so you kind of have to just imagine it in your head. But you would then push the material forward, have it butted up against those drop downs, and then you can then pull this back down and begin hitting the vacuum table and then go through production. As I said previously, we have different zones here for our vacuum suction. So if you're not using one zone, you can turn one of the zones off. Right now, we've got all of the zones open. And we also have the vacuum, basically intensity all the way up to the max. You can also increase or decrease that depending upon the material that you have. Sometimes if it's something that's really porous or a really thin material, you don't want to have the vacuum zone all the way turned all the way to the max because it's going to pull a lot of suction. Could have the possibility of pulling the ink and you not having the best image quality that you're looking for. So if you do have something like banner or something like that, that's kind of a little bit heavier, a little bit thicker, you can have the vacuum turned all the way up to the max. But if it's something that's a little bit thinner and you may have to be able to print and try it out before you go through your full production. So that's something that is a little bit unique and is beneficial if you do have something that has a high warp to it, because coroplast sheets never come in fully flat. So it is nice to have that ability to be able to increase or decrease your vacuum suction to be able to make sure that your material stays flat. So those are all the main features on our hybrid series printer. If you would rather have a more in-depth demo or demonstration on the machine itself, feel free to reach out to your local distributor or your local CET representative. We've got great sales representatives all across the United States. Make sure that you reach out to them to be able to get a little bit more information. And if not, we hope that you have a great day. And if you do end up buying one of these printers, we look forward to you being a part of the CET family.